Good morning and welcome to day 3 of the Mackinac Policy Conference, coming to you live from Mackinac Island. I'm your host, Zoe Clark. Joining me to talk about what the buzz has been about so far this week, as well as what's coming up today, is Chief Operating Officer of the Detroit Regional Chamber, Megan Spanitz. Megan, it's so good to have you.
Thanks for having me, Zoe.
So, the theme of the conference is a quest for common ground, but I think one of the things that the Chamber really is trying to talk about is Michigan's house is on fire. Can you explain what you mean by that?
So no state in the nation has fallen as hard and as fast as Michigan on the key economic indicators that a state needs to achieve economic prosperity. And things like per capita income, fourth grade reading scores, secondary degree attainment. Those are critical factors, and Michigan used to be a high performing state, and now we're in most cases in the bottom 10. And what's even worse than, I guess equally concerning, is that most Michiganders don't realize how poor the state is performing. And so we have started sounding this alarm bell, not to point fingers or assign blame, because it's multiple decades of decline is what Michigan has experienced, but to make sure that the public, business leaders, government leaders, understand where we really are and begin the discussion on what's the fix. And so that's one of the topics that we've been talking about for the past 2 days, and we'll continue that conversation today. So how do we have strategies for the state that can transition from one administration to the next and have some consistency and really turn the state around? And we think some of it can be done quickly.
Yeah, you mentioned, and I think it's really interesting, and there's some polling data that came out just this week that shows that most Michiganders don't actually know that the so-called house is on fire.
Right. Michiganders think we're a middle-of-the-pack state, and that's been consistent in our polling for probably the last year.
How did we get here?
It's policy changes, so that when the business community can't count on consistency, just different budget investments that are made, and again, lack of consistency. And so, but it didn't happen overnight either. And you can't point figures at one administration or one political party. And I think we've tried to not spend too much time doing that so that we can really focus on what to do going forward.
Yeah. When you talk about what the fix is, who are the folks that need to be at the table?
Business and government leaders that are invested in the various topics. So, the idea of economic development and the lack of consistency among administrations, looking at some of the other states, especially our neighboring states like Ohio and Indiana, who are kind of eating our lunch. Their ability to attract companies and create jobs for the future, they're beating us at that game.
What happens if we don't turn this around?
We have the potential of becoming a poor state, continue to see our population decline, continue to see kids who are raised here go off and move to other states. I don't think anybody wants to see that. And so, I do believe that this conference and bringing business and government leaders together to talk about this in a real way will help us hold each other accountable, and then hold government leaders accountable on what the business community needs.
You're sounding this alarm this week. Are folks hearing this, do you think, up here?
I think they are, and I think our media partners that are here are doing a great job championing this message and telling this story. While we took the stage, Sandy Bureau, yesterday and talked about this, other sessions that I've heard from today, the message is resonating, and people are talking about the data we put out and the concept of what's the fix.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little broader too about the conference now. We're already in day 3. What are we expecting today? What are you looking forward to?
So more discussions from very, very, very different viewpoints. So what we've been saying is that there's something on this agenda for everyone, but we're really trying to challenge people to come hear someone that they might not agree with, to further push the idea of there's common ground in a message regardless of a political point of view. So we have Dr. Cornell West, who will talk about equity and a lot more social issues. We have the governor making her final keynote address as governor at the conference, and we've had a great relationship with Governor Whitmer at the past 8 years. She's a huge champion of the conference, and working with her team for the 8th year, I think we're all sad that this is it. We're hosting a debate of Democratic candidates for U.S. Senate. And then we'll also have a one-on-one conversation with former Senator Mike Rogers, who is, leading the Republican ticket.
Yeah.
So lots of different points of view, and then, we're trying to offer something for everyone. So in the afternoon, we'll still have thought leadership sessions, but then we have different activities. Bob Riney, the conference chair, is hosting a euchre tournament later this afternoon.
So, Megan, I'm curious. You mentioned that there's this U.S. Senate debate. The conference sort of takes on a different dynamic in even years. How much does election 2026 take over a conference like this when you're trying to talk policy?
It completely does. We know that the candidates are coming up here to do a number of things: meet people, fundraise, get their point of view out. I mean, based on where the primary falls after the conference, they see this as a great stage to introduce themselves.
Yeah.
And
then
it's
do it
in full force here this week.
Okay, so you ran through what to expect today, but what are you most looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to 8 p.m. when the conference is over. No, I'm just kidding. I'm actually looking forward to this session that you're hosting. With Chris Sununu and John Tester. Again, two different points of view from different sides of the country, and see what they seem like really fun guys, and there'll be some joking, and I think it'll be good edutainment.
It'll be a good conversation. Okay, Megan, thank you so much.
Thank you, Zoe.